The voyage to Oasis began inauspiciously. The Black Fin was not the vessel Lord and Lady Ironvein were promised. The noble ship had departed without them due to their tardiness, leaving this alternative.
Rule 1 of survival. Always know the lay of the land, or in this case, the ship. 3 escape routes from any location, 2 backup plans for every situation, and at least 1 gullible mark to exploit if needed. Seems our dwarven lord and lady have put the crew on edge. Something about the Moray's teeth. Some passage we need to cross. Superstitious sailor nonsense, probably. Still, where there's fear, there's usually a reason.
A ranger learns to read terrain for survival, to find water, shelter, food. But you also learn to read people. This crew is hiding something. Their scent carries fear whenever they mention the Moray's teeth. Something in their path they dread but cannot avoid.
I've never been on a ship before, or seen the ocean, or traveled with strangers, or had a job, or been in debt. It's fine, totally fine. This is an adventure, and adventures always work out in the end, right? Otherwise, it would be like a misadventure, and this totally doesn't feel like one of those. Although, I don't think I've been on anything that technically qualifies as a misadventure either.
These sailors chose this life, yet complain ceaselessly about it. The weather is unfavorable. There are nobles on board. The wind smells strangely. A seabird with a red eye is following the ship. It never ends with them. Bah! I have no patience for their whining. At least the ancestors have given me purpose. What purpose drives these men who rail against the very life they selected? They have, however, taught me some very useful knots. I will give them that.
The others are strangers still, bound only by our shared servitude. Yet I wonder if the ancestors, gods, or fates have drawn us together for reasons beyond coincidence. Time, as always, will reveal the truth.
Interesting bunch, my fellow debtors. Death-touched elf, anxious fairy, stoic shifter, and an honor-bound giant kin. Not my usual crew, but possibly useful. I suppose 100 days is a long time to be stuck on an island. Having capable allies might be the difference between returning with my pockets full or not returning at all.
The captain's magic voice, an unusual affectation for a simple merchant vessel. Such enchantments are expensive, rare. Makes me wonder what other secrets this ship holds. Pirates disguised as traders? Smugglers? Or perhaps legitimate sailors with unfortunate histories?
Everyone seems just, super tense about those dwarf nobles. I offered to entertain them with the teensiest of tiny light shows, but Augmal politely suggested that might not be the best idea after I mentioned the small fire incident at the Academy Solstice celebration. You know what? He's probably right, fam. Fire is like my least favorite of the elements. Okay, well, you know what? If I'm being real, it is actually my second least fave. Yeah, for real. Do not even get me at all started on how I feel about Earth. Like, just so gross.
The Black Fin found itself stuck in a rocky patch in the ocean. Captain Whispers ordered us to secure lines to nearby rocks, to pull the ship free before the tide changed and doomed us all.
I sensed them before I saw them. Predators circling beneath us. Dire sharks, twice the size of normal sharks with bone plating, saber teeth, and unnatural hunger. What had drawn them here?
Just my luck. 1,000 gold pieces of debt, and I'd be shark food before seeing a single coin returned. But as Grandfather Finnick always said, a halfling who can't improvise might as well be a halfling who can't breathe. Not the shiniest pearl of halfling wisdom, but you can see his point to be true. Time to earn my keep.
Dire sharks? Oh, I've read about dire sharks. They're magically altered by prolonged exposure to arcane currents. That doesn't, help us not get eaten, but, well, it's an interesting fact while we're about to die.
I cannot swim. It is fortunate, then, that we are battling the sharks and not swimming with them.
My oath demands I protect others from harm. These creatures threatened not just us, but the entire ship. The path forward was clear. I would meet the threat directly.
The giant kin just jumped right out of the boat at the first shark he saw, crazy enough to be sure, but then he hauled off and punched it with his bare fists. I will repeat that. He punched the shark with his bare fists. Still, those fists were charged with divine fury. and the shark definitely felt that. Then the scary elf lady jumped onto another shark and began stabbing it with her fancy elven stabbers. Remarkable, especially when it's quite obvious she does not know how to swim. In the end, it takes a lot of the heat, and by heat I mean sharks, off of me, so I will have to thank them for that. You know, if they live, of course. So now it's just up to me to, do the thing that needs doing.
The halfling showed surprising competence. I kept the predators at bay while he worked, my arrows finding the vulnerable points between the dire shark's armored plates. A ranger learns the weaknesses of all predators, even unnatural ones.
You guys, I'm not bragging or anything like that, but I am pretty sure I, actually applied something I learned at school to that whole sitch with the dire sharks. I saw that Kavi and Agmal were just, in there with the sharks and punching and stabbing them and stuff. And I also saw that the sharks were, biting and chewing on Kavi a lot, which is fine, right? You do you. I mean, I wouldn't say she was enjoying it, but it didn't seem to be bothering her much. Although, yeah, there was a lot of blood. And so everyone and every shark are just in there splashing around and stabbing around and bleeding out and stuff. And can I, be totally honest with you? I hated that, so much. Did not want to be in any way involved with or wrapped up in that at all. And that's when I realized that maybe in this situation it would be best for me to play a more, supportive role. And then I remembered that support is like a whole way or approach or philosophy or whatever to look at what you do as a wizard and stuff, right? So, there are all these different roles that you can play. There are actually a lot of different roles, but I probably don't need to get into all of those right now, And I probably couldn't remember most of them anyway. I'm still riding the high of fighting dire sharks, And so anyway, support is just one of those different roles. And so I focused on that, and you know what? I think I actually supported really well, you guys. So yeah, I think the top line of what I'm saying is I am growing as a spellcaster. How great is that?
Once you have slipped free from the jaws of death, the jaws of no creature hold fear for you. That is good. I should remember that.
While the heavy hitters played shark puncher, someone had to actually complete the mission. Fancy fighting wouldn't save the ship. Properly secured lines would. Good knots are essential to any thief's repertoire. Climbing mansions, securing grappling hooks, occasionally tying up nosy guards. The principles are the same. These ropes would hold the weight of the entire ship if my knots had anything to say about it.
Together we overcame the threat. The ship was pulled free, our mission accomplished. Yet the crew seemed unimpressed by our heroics. No gratitude, no acknowledgement, just the same suspicious glances. Their behavior continued to suggest some deeper concern, or, more likely, prejudices.
Whether they appreciated what we accomplished or not, the crew couldn't deny our prowess or that we had aided the ship in a way they could never accomplish. So, that afforded us a generally wide berth, which I would not complain about, and a begrudging though prickly respect. Although it was clear they would betray us in any number of ways at any given opportunity. But perhaps the sense of opportunistic treachery is a trait inborn to all sailors and not just this crew. I know not.
The Moray's Teeth, they called it. A narrow passage between rock formations that resembled a sea creature's maw. The crew's fear was palpable now, sailors making warding gestures, muttering prayers. Even Captain Whisper's ethereal voice seemed subdued. And all the while the crew's veiled yet threatening eyes darted toward Lord and Lady Ironvein.
The sea smells wrong. Not just the salt and fish that others would expect, but something else. Something old and rotting beneath the waves. We're being watched, followed perhaps. The others haven't noticed yet.
The veil between worlds is thin in this place. The dreaming paths twist in strange and alien ways. Death lingers here, old and patient, waiting.
As we approached the pass between the Moray's Teeth, the crew became more and more quiet and still, though less and less composed. So when the ship began to slow, I believed it was due in some part to their fear-paralyzed inaction. However, as we soon discovered, it was the menace and malevolence of an undead threat that found us becalmed.
And there it was, the real reason the crew feared these waters. Not just superstition after all. A bunch of ghouls, I guess. And a wight, I think. I can't keep all these wights and wraiths and ghouls and ghasts and ghosts all straight. They rose out of the sea, very dramatic. Great entrance. Then some undead crabs too. I'm sure those have a very special undead name as well, but in the end they're just fucking undead giant crabs, aren't they? The wight demanded noble blood, meaning our dwarven companions. Suddenly the crew's resentment made perfect sense. The Iron Veins had made them targets.
Undead, but not just any undead. Marine undead. Even stinkier, if you can believe it. The arcane preservation is incredible from an academic perspective. Less incredible from a not wanting to die perspective. Also, the main one, the captain, maybe, was shedding tears that seemed to be pearls. Wow.
While we fought the undead boarders, treachery unfolded below deck. A hobgoblin crewman and a halfling, Mori I believe they called him, dragged the Iron Veins above deck. Their intent was clear. Sacrifice the nobles to save themselves.
My oath was clear. Whatever deal existed between Oasis and this crew did not supersede my sworn duty to protect the Iron Veins. If conflict was inevitable, so be it.
Honor among thieves, I understand. Honor among sailors? Apparently not. Those crew members were ready to throw their passengers to the sharks, or in this case, the walking dead. Even I have standards.
I had been looking for a reason to kill that hobgoblin and halfling. Excellent.
I just reacted. I didn't think. The acid orb left my fingers before I even realized what I was doing. They don't teach you about that at the academy. What it feels like, the sound, the smell, knowing you just ended someone, even someone bad. I wanted to be sick. I wanted to take it back, but I couldn't. That hobgoblin was super ugly and really stringy and all mangy and everything, but, maybe he had a family. Maybe there was a hobgoblinette waiting for him, and now they're just going to be, waiting there in their, I don't know, cave? Burrow? Den? All alone. Will they even remember to eat? Ugh. Oh well, I guess I'm just a dark sorceress now, you guys.
The small flying fae's unexpected lethality changed the dynamic of battle. The surviving betrayer, Mori, lost his courage when faced with true consequences. It is no matter. The dreaming paths have whispered his name to me. One day soon, little one. Yes. I will send you to whatever short and fat gods deign to pass judgment upon you.
Every creature has a weakness. Every magic has a source. These undead were tethered to the wight. Cut the connection, end the threat. Simple in theory, slightly more complicated when surrounded by walking corpses.
With the wight defeated, the lesser undead scattered or dissolved into wet dust and ash. The halfling Mori was contained but not punished. He seems like he may continue to be a problem if given the chance. Conversely, Kavi may murder him if given the chance.
Victory, but a hollow one. The Iron Veins were saved, but now the crew's resentment toward them, and by extension toward us, had only deepened. And what of Tizzy? The fairy had taken a life for the first time. Such moments change a person, even one as seemingly carefree as she. We approach Oasis. Perhaps the little one can find a path to redemption in the splendor of paradise.
Oasis, our home for the next 100 days. Pristine beaches, crystal waters, lush jungle, and a settlement that screams riches. Where there's wealth, there are opportunities. And where there are rich people, there are pockets to pick, safes to crack, and marks to fleece. Maybe this indentured servitude won't be so bad after all.
It's so beautiful here, like something from a storybook. Those colors, purple palm trees, turquoise waters, golden sands. Part of me wanted to forget everything that happened on the ship and just start fresh. Maybe here I could learn to control my magic properly. Maybe here I could be better. But I don't know, fam. Once you're lost to the darkness, I think it's just so hard finding your way back.
Something wasn't right. An island this size should teem with life. Birds calling, monkeys chattering, insects humming. But there was something strange beneath the beauty. A silence, like a perfectly preserved corpse. Lovely to look at, but fundamentally wrong. Oh, well, come on, Rosie. I'm sure it's absolutely nothing to worry about. Perfectly fine. It's all going to be perfectly fine.
Our arrival was met with formality and structure, guards in matching uniforms, officials with practiced smiles, order imposed upon paradise. After the chaos of our journey, it should have been reassuring. Yet something felt rehearsed, artificial, as if we were actors arriving on a stage, expected to play parts not yet revealed to us.
This island of contradictions, beauty masking emptiness, wealth hiding secrets, freedom built upon slavery. The ancestors have guided me here through blood and water. Now, I would discover why.
Motherfucking Oasis!